Hey, Hound Dogs, I'm David Hankins,
I'm Paul Hankins.
and you're on the air with Power Squared. We are coming to you live on a Friday night, the January 10th. Um, if you're following the news at all, you're aware that there are massive fires going on around us. And at this point, I guess the Palisades fire, which is the biggest one, is starting to crest into the valley. So hopefully we'll still be safe, but for right now we are.
Yes.
Um, I can feel a certain empathy for people that lose their house because when I was about, I guess, two or three. Our house burned to the ground with us in it, and you lose everything, and it's hard to come back from that emotionally. And so I'm hoping that everybody that is going through that experience will bounce back and be able to rebuild and sort of carry on.
Yeah.
But it is a traumatic experience in our.
Yes.
Okay. So, we thought we would talk a little bit in this show about movies that are coming out this year that we might be interested in. So, it's anything else you want to say about the fire?
Uh. Yeah. I'm glad that outside of California, there are people who are more sympathetic about the situation,
Yes.
like Canada and Australia.
Yeah, fires happen everywhere apparently. In Canada they've had huge fires, in Australia they've had huge fires, and we've had them all throughout the United States as well. The western half of the United States gets burned quite a bit.
Yeah.
So this is just LA's time for this, I guess. I mean, it's not anything more than just sort of circumstances cause this to happen.
Yeah, and
Weather.
because of what I follow on social media,
Mm-hmm.
I saw that Dead Mouse is a Canadian electronic artist. For those who don't know, he actually wanted to take action and try to help with the fires. So he put out a shirt you can buy, and 100% of the proceeds will go directly to the fire.
That's great. And there's a lot of people that have donated, and there's something going on now in Pasadena where you can donate pretty much anything to help people. They're saying they've gotten food and water, even mattresses and clothing, and they're going to need everything because, again, these people are pretty much starting over from scratch. They may have the clothes on their back, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So again, our sympathy goes out to those people, and we hope that you're able to bounce back from this devastating loss.
Yes. So, in lighter news,
We thought we would talk about movies that are coming out, and we're not going to talk about every movie coming out because there's probably hundreds. We're just going to talk about ones that kind of caught our eye.
yes.
Okay, so we can start with I guess what we can say that we haven't seen any new movies that are out this year yet, right?
Not yet.
Okay. So the first movie on the list is I guess it's more of a one shot to see it kind of. It's Cowboy Bebop, the movie.
Yeah, it was a limited screening of Cowboy Bebop, the movie. Yeah, we've seen Cowboy Bebop,
Mm-hmm.
and we saw the movie through physical media because it was pretty much the only way to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really good.
Yes.
If you have the opportunity to watch Cowboy Bebop, the movie, I would suggest doing so.
Okay. Now, we've talked a little bit before on the show about the MCU.
Yeah, and how I kind of lost the plot.
Well, they're still trying, and I guess on the 14th is Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah, I'll just be honest, the trailer didn't completely entice me.
Okay.
I just in general with the MCU, outside of like post Endgame, outside of like Guardians 3 or Deadpool and Wolverine, I haven't really enjoyed much of what I've seen.
Okay.
Like Thor: Love and Thunder was bad. Ant-Man Quantumania was bad.
The thing that this has going for it is I am not going to know the actor's name, so my apologies. But the lead actors are, besides Harrison Ford, he's almost like I kind of wish he wasn't in it in a way. But the other, the new Captain America, and I can't think of that. I'm terrible with names. Sebastian Stan character.
Right.
They're likable people. I mean, I like those characters. And they even had a show a little bit for a time on Disney where it was a limited series, but it was them doing things together.
Right.
And that wasn't bad. So I mean, I don't have a problem so much with them, and I know they're trying to carry the MCU on, but for some reason Harrison Ford just sort of,
I guess he's Thunderbolt Ross now.
Okay.
Because it introduces Red Hulk, or Rulk, as some call him, and canonically he's Thunderbolt Ross. It was, I believe, played by a different actor in the MCU before.
Right.
So since Harrison Ford becomes Red Hulk, I assume that would mean Thunderbolt Ross is now played by him.
Okay. Well, I don't know. It's just sort of I don't know.
My only connection to Red Hulk is I read a run of Thunderbolts where it was Deadpool, Red Hulk, Elektra, and someone else.
Okay. I don't know. Just for some reason,
Or one or two other people.
It just seems off for me personally that he's in it. But that's not, I'm not criticizing him as an actor or anything, but it's just, it just doesn't seem right.
Right.
That's just me.
I guess for me it's more of a wait for reviews kind of thing.
Yeah. Hopefully it's good. The next on our list, which comes out the same day, is Paddington in Peru. Now we saw a trailer for this at the theater.
Yeah.
Did that make you want to watch the movie?
Well, I feel like in general I should watch the Paddington movies.
Okay.
Because I've heard they're good. It's like they're wholesome movies.
Yeah. At the same time, I mean, we watched the Star Wars movies, and then they got, you had Solo and some kind of, misses there, here and there. So, I mean, does Paddington in Peru make you want to see it?
Well, it reminded me, I feel like I needed to watch the other movies.
Okay. Well, so we're kind of still, if you don't.
It's hard to know if I want to see it if I haven't seen the other ones.
All right, yeah.
I also got reminded from Fact Checker.
Okay.
The run of Thunderbolts that I read also introduced this Marvel organization called Wand.
Okay.
Which is like S.H.I.E.L.D. but with magic.
Okay.
And it was the best thing ever, and it was only in one issue.
Okay.
And I wanted to see more.
All right, so you might be more interested then.
Well, they're probably not going to put Wand in here, but
you never know. But yeah, you're probably right. Okay, so the next on the list, which comes out on the 28th of February, and of course schedules are subject to change, so don't go back and say, hey, you said it'd be on February 28th, and it's
Right.
not, is The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. What have you heard about that?
I don't know much about it, honestly. I know that Warner Brothers Zaslav was trying really hard to turn Coyote versus Acme into a tax write-off.
Yeah, well, now this is, isn't somebody else making this movie besides?
Yeah, just
Remind you
talking
of
about it was
yeah,
reminding
yeah.
me of
Yeah.
that whole thing. Again, might be a wait for reviews kind of thing.
Okay.
Because I think Looney Tunes can be hit and miss with movies, like Space Jam 2.
Yeah, well, yes. So again, yeah, you kind of hope that it's successful because you want animation to catch on again at
Yeah.
Warner Brothers. I mean, they've kind of like seems like they've sort of turned off the spigot so much.
Right.
But so hopefully it'll catch on. Uh, Speaking of Thunderbolts, that comes out May 2nd.
Yeah. Thunderbolts asterisk.
Oh yes, Thunderbolts asterisk, because somebody else has the name Thunderbolts or something like that. Is that the joke?
Well, in the trailer, Bucky was like, "We can't call ourselves Thunderbolts."
Okay, Bucky. Okay, that was the other character I was trying to think of. Yeah.
Winter Soldier.
Yes, Winter Soldier. Yes. So yeah, Bucky.
All right, and for some reason, I don't associate the name Sebastian Stan with.
Okay. Well, that's
I didn't associate Bucky with Sebastian Stan in my head. Just Bucky.
But he plays Bucky.
Right.
You can see this is unrehearsed. Isn't it sort of? Yeah, it's sort of like kind of an Avengers kind of thing again.
Yeah. Is it? I was trying to remember if we got a Suicide Squad vibe from it or not.
Oh.
Probably not. That's
Yeah.
more Creature Commandos.
Yeah, Creature Commandos definitely. Yeah.
I'm just mixing it up in my head. Thunderbolts seems like kind of a Avengers-ish thing. It sounded like it was also following up on the limited Falcon and Winter Soldier
Right. Okay. See, Falcon. Okay.
series.
I like the guy as the Falcon.
Yeah.
I think he was good. I like him as an actor, and I liked Sebastian Stan as Bucky. So the fact that New World is one of the things would make me want to see it, but at the same time, I think we should wait for reviews, I guess.
I feel like with the MCU, unless it was like Deadpool and Wolverine, where I was definitely going to see it, I feel like I have to wait for reviews because of how much post Endgame content was like a miss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, or diminishing returns. So I feel like I can't really get hyped for anything that isn't Deadpool and Wolverine anymore.
Okay, so it was too much quantity and not enough quality.
Yeah, so I have to wait to see if they're actual quality movies.
Okay. Next up on our list, May 23rd, would be Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Which is part 2 for Dead Reckoning.
Right.
They're just not calling it part 2 anymore. And it is selling itself as like the final Mission Impossible.
Yeah, until they, of course, reboot it with another actor in 10 years.
So at least the last Tom Cruise
Yes.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah, and he changed Mission Impossible from being sort of a group thing to him. There's a group, but he's totally the main character. Or everybody had a specialty, and everybody was in on the mission more than everybody else is now kind of in the background. So I assume we're going to see a lot of videos of Tom Cruise running and him doing some sort of, wow, he did that special, some sort of stunt work that we're all going to be, oh, wow.
Actually, when we saw the trailer in the theater, my first tip off that it was Mission Impossible was seeing Tom Cruise running.
Yeah. I think he's done more running in the movie since Buster Keaton, But yeah.
I'll say with Mission Impossible, I don't think I've actually seen any of the movies pre-Ghost Protocol.
Oh. Well.
Or the original show, for that matter.
No. Well, the original show was more of a it was Cold War kind of political, sabotage, and they would do things kind of under the, on a weekly basis, doing something kind of undercover to overthrow a government, whatever. So it was more of a political. I know there's a political element in these movies, but it's not quite doesn't seem as real in some ways.
Yeah.
But anyway, because we're not going I guess we're going through a Cold War, but not really the Cold War.
I remember we saw Ghost Protocol because Brad Bird did that one, and it was actually good.
Yeah, and these movies have actually of late been pretty good.
Yeah, so I think we'll see. I think we're going to end up seeing Final Reckoning in the theater.
Yes, I think we will too.
No, we didn't write this down, but something else coming out on that same day is in Japan. They're releasing another Rohan movie, which will adapt At a Confessional, the one-shot At a Confessional, but as a feature, so we'll have some original material. We saw the animated adaptation of it after we saw the live-action Rohan drama. I think the animated version, the animated version was more one-to-one with the one-shot, so it was good.
Mm-hmm.
I really am curious what they'll do with the, drama universe version of it.
I liked the live action Rohan better than the one that was in JoJo's, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just more, I don't know, more approachable or something. I don't know. I like the actor that plays it.
Issei Takahashi.
Yeah. And I like the woman that's his agent, or his liaison with the publisher or whatever.
Right.
They have kind of this funky chemistry together, and even though it's all in Japanese, I enjoyed the series we watched and the movie where it was in Paris.
Yeah, at the Louvre.
At the Louvre, yeah.
So definitely looking forward to whenever they release that over here.
We won't be going to Japan to watch it on that.
No,
day.
we probably we weren't able to see At the Louvre until like September, so it might be the case for At a Confessional.
You kind of wonder they're not dubbing it or anything. Why would it hold up releasing it here in a way?
I don't know. Maybe because over here it gets released on Amazon, so I don't know if there's some like weird agreement or something.
How many months you have to wait? Sometimes there are kind of agreements like that.
Yeah. I'm gonna skip over the next item because it's untitled, so can't have an opinion on it.
All right. But you know who's doing it? You probably have an opinion about that.
Yeah. Trey and Matt. I'll watch it.
Yeah, and it's musical, which is sort of like, ugh, but they also did the Mormon.
Yeah, Book of Mormon.
So yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah, it was a very good show. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Superman.
It was
July 11th.
Yeah, so this is James Gunn's Superman.
Yeah. And you kind of think they should put it out July 4th as America's Hero, right?
Yeah.
But July 11th, it's coming out. I'm sure there'll be previews ahead of time. I hope he's doing better by Superman than the previous versions, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, I haven't seen I'll just say the Donner Superman.
Oh. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you haven't seen those, and I did see them in the theater, at least the first two, I think. I think there was 3 or 4 of them.
I've almost wondered if I should at least watch the first one because it's iconic, but I don't really. But I'm not like that's not like a high priority for me. I know I have seen Man of Steel, which was I don't know what they were doing with that one.
Yeah, I saw the Superman movie when I was in college, and it was like $5 to go see a movie, which seemed like a lot back then, but now it's like wow. I grew up with Superman on television. Those 30-minute show. I guess it may have been daily because it was probably something else shorts they made. Serial. But and he was sort of small in a way. He had superpowers, but he wasn't like blowing up the entire. And when it turned into Man of Steel, he was basically destroying everything around him to defeat one person.
Yeah, it was a bit too much destruction for Superman.
And it sort of called back to the Superman movie because Zod was the villain in that as well.
Yeah.
And I kind of was hoping they might do an origin story again, kind of. But then there was a weird part in this is the one where Kevin Costner was the father.
Right.
And there was that weird part where, don't save me.
Stop, my invincible son.
Yeah, don't save me. That was like a weird thing for me. as either the father not wanting to be saved because you don't want your son to be exposed, or the son not saving him.
Yeah.
That just was like, oh wow, I was like, had a hard time with that.
I guess, if you will, I know what they were trying to do with that one, but I don't think they executed it very well.
No, and then that whole, then they went into the Batman versus Superman thing, which was
Batman v Superman.
yeah, which was sort of like, someone said that he could just destroy him with extra, his.
He could melt Batman.
Yeah. Why would there even be a struggle? But
just on briefly on the topic of Superman, for the movie, I guess a more cautious optimism, as it looks like it would at least be more fun than what Snyder tried to do. But as far as Superman media goes, I definitely like the Fleischer cartoons.
Yes, and then, again, those are small stories in a way.
Yeah.
And I bought the some anniversary thing of Superman, and those are small stories. I mean, they're not destroying the world. He may be, fighting, for truth and justice the American way, but he's not like blowing up Berlin to do it.
Yeah. And I also love My Adventures of Superman.
Yeah. Again, those are sort of, there's a big arc to it, but it's sort of little individual stories and relationships.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what makes that so good is the fact that you kind of see his relationship with everybody.
Yeah, and watching My Adventures with Superman, I was like, oh, this is why people like Superman.
Yeah.
Like, give me more of this wholesome Boy Scout Superman.
Yeah, kind of. And then kind of the series was, as I recall as a kid, was sort of the same way.
Yeah.
He was always saving Lois Lane every week, had to save Lois Lane. And, Jimmy Olsen was just sort of, cub reporter. Now, in today's world, I don't even know if we really have cub reporters anymore, but, it's nice to think of newspapers as ongoing entities, I guess.
Yeah. So, July 25th, which is Comic-Con week, stop doing that, is Fantastic Four First Steps, which might be establishing a pattern that every 10 years we get a new version of Fantastic Four. As at 2005, we had Fantastic Four. 2015, we had Fant Four Stick.
Right.
And then 2025, Fantastic Four First Steps.
Now, who's in this one? Do we know? Or if we don't remember that school,
maybe Pedro Pascal.
Okay. As
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Reed,
yeah.
I don't remember anyone else. I think I've seen like a picture.
Okay.
That was it.
Yeah, I would be kind of curious to see if they could do a better job than the other ones did.
Yeah.
Because after a while they, was it Fan Four Stick sort of turned into an ad for, cars,
Yeah, you're thinking of Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Right. Yeah, okay, that was the sequel to that.
I think I read this one has Silver Surfer in it again, so to me it sounds like they're almost kind of remaking Rise of the Silver Surfer. I can't say for sure.
You kind of wonder, these stories have, I'm not a big reader of Fantastic Four, but
neither am I.
But the MCU, you've got all these different variations of these stories, and there's probably more than one Fantastic Four line going. If I can, because they do that with Spider-Man and everybody else, there's like multiple things going. You kind of wonder why they keep going back to the same stories over and over again. But unless Silver Surfer is like the hot character.
Well, Silver Surfer is an iconic character.
So we have to have him, I guess.
I remember because of this upcoming movie, we actually rewatched the other two incarnations. Or the 2005 one was actually still entertaining, even though it's like showing its age in places.
Yeah, well, the special effects don't necessarily survive well.
Yeah, for that, we thought the director's cut was actually an improvement.
Yeah, I recall not really. Chris Evans was kind of like a little too snarky, maybe,
In the director's cut, he actually gets called out.
Right, yeah. And you felt bad for the Thing,
Ben.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ben Grimm.
yeah. But here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
You feel bad for him because his wife just totally like, you know,
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with you. You know, till death do we part. Well, you're
Yeah.
dead to me. Yeah, okay.
And Rise of the Silver Surfer was,
Yeah.
especially because it turns into an ad at the end
Yeah.
or towards the end. And then Fantastic was just bad as it it takes way too long for the powers to actually happen, and then the final battle is in the last like 5 minutes or something.
Because in
Exaggerating a
the
little bit.
Silver Surfer was a sequel to the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. There was like, what is it? It's a Hemi or whatever. I thought that was like.
Yeah, that was Rise of the Silver Surfer.
And it kind of turned me the wrong way. Yeah.
Fantastic was like way too slow, and by the end, like basically nothing happened.
Yeah. All right.
So moving on from that, August 1st, we get The Bad Guys 2.
Right.
I think that's a must watch.
We enjoyed the first one a lot. Even though they made some changes to the books, right? Because the
Yeah.
Aquafina character's not in the book, right, or something like that.
In the book, it's Guy, for one thing.
Okay.
Mr. Spider.
Okay, it's a spider. Okay, okay. So they made it a woman for the show.
Yeah, I made it a grill for the.
I was watching the Golden Globes and thinking, we don't always enjoy Aquafina's work,
No.
but she'd probably be a cool person to hang out with. Just for what that's worth. Okay, so we'll definitely see that, and then the next on the list is a reboot, I guess, of Naked Gun.
No, I don't know too much about that project, so I don't think I can really comment on it.
It's sort of an outgrowth in a weird way of the film Airplane, which was kind of making fun of airplane disaster movies, and
Wasn't it a specific script with jokes?
yeah, but then that kind of grew into. Leslie Nielsen was sort of surprised because everybody thinks of him as a serious actor, and he was pretty funny, and so they spun off into do this. They had Police Squad and Naked Gun movies, and he was in. Police Squad was sort of the same sort of making fun of the. Not I want to say stereotypes, but the things the cliches of that kind of media.
Right.
Posing at the end like they used to do. At the end of every television show drama, there was a freeze frame, and so they would make fun of that kind of stuff, and all the cop movies,
Right.
and TV shows.
My only real knowledge of Naked Gun is there's Naked Gun 2.5, and Naked Gun 33 1/3.
Right.
So why isn't this 444 1/4?
Or 7. Naked Gun movies also had O.J. Simpson in them as a main character, which is sort of yeah. Well, I'm just saying, and so it'd be interesting. I'm not sure how much I really care
Right.
about it, and I think it's odd of all things to do is remake that if you're gonna spend your money. But again, they're very interested in what's a familiar title. Let's redo that. So this is probably what that's about.
Well, if I remember correctly, a lot of modern marketing people are more like, I don't want to actually do the work to advertise something brand new, so I just need a name, and that's it.
Well, in some cases too, is they may not have the budget to do it either. I mean, because a lot of times companies are cutting back on marketing. But yeah, I'm just not really. It doesn't really do anything for me, personally.
So after that is Freakier Friday.
Okay.
Okay, so Disney likes doing Freaky. This is specifically a sequel to the 2003 one
with
Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis.
right. Okay, so this is a
Sequel.
okay. 20
something years later.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember actually liking that version of Freaky Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Like they actually had really good on-screen chemistry, and
Yeah.
they actually showed good acting range.
And this was before Lindsay Lohan became kind of a celebrity joke.
I guess she's gotten better now.
Hopefully. I mean, there was a lot of potential with her in 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd probably say Freakier Friday, but considering it's a sequel to over 20-year-old movie, it could go either way in terms of quality.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you hope that they do well with sequels, but sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Speaking of sequels, Downton Abbey 3 comes out on September 12th,
That's right.
which is a sequel to a really good series, and the movies were. You've seen the movies.
Yeah. My only knowledge of Downton Abbey is like the first episode of the show and then the two movies.
Well,
But even with like little knowledge of the show, I still actually ended up liking the movies.
the movies were sort of taking the story, which ended at a certain point in history, and then taking those characters and putting them in stories like in other decades.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, they sort of touched on the film coming around in one of the movies,
Yeah.
so I'm curious to see what this era is they're going to do. You know what I mean? Is it going to be
Yeah.
the later 20s or the 30s or whatever?
Yeah.
And you'd have to. They've already lost one of the main actresses, but she was sort of. I think she died in the second one anyway.
Yeah.
And so it'd be interesting to see what they do, and I will look forward to seeing that movie. And then we come down to yet another sequel.
Tron Ares.
Mm-hmm.
I want to watch it.
Okay.
I know Jared Leto is in it, but I don't care.
Okay. And yeah. Well, as long as he's not the Joker. So this is another Tron story.
Yeah.
Now, we liked Legacy a lot,
Yeah.
and we liked the series they had on TV.
Yeah. So, we've slowly been deep diving Tron media.
Okay.
Like the original movie is kind of slow, but at the same time, the last time I watched it, I felt like I actually got more out of the story. 'Cause I guess I was kind of paying more attention to the plot. It's actually in Tron Legacy we actually liked.
Yeah, it was actually. Now they did some stuff where they de-aged the lead guy.
Yeah.
Great with names.
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges. They kind of de-aged him, which was sort of, it kind of worked, didn't work kind of deal. But
Yeah. But otherwise I liked the story.
yeah.
I liked the visual look of the grid, and of course there's that Daft Punk score.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
Right, and then the light cycles were pretty cool.
Yeah. And we saw Tron Uprising
Right.
3 times, actually.
Okay.
Once on TV when it originally aired, and then once when it re-aired randomly, and then once on Disney Plus when we saw it was there.
Okay.
So definitely watch that. I've also played the game Tron 2.0, which was the original official sequel to Tron.
Okay.
That the story kind of stopped at the end, but at the same time, it was actually a pretty good story, and it's actually interesting how it and Tron Legacy actually had some similar story beats.
Now, do you imagine there'll be a game that comes out of this? This is Disney we're talking about.
Well, they've been steadily giving Tron more legacy support, including games. So I would assume that they'll have some game around this.
Okay. They used to have, like, if it was a Disney movie coming out, there'd be books about it and different stories about the characters, and they really went all out to.
At one point, they tried to make Disney Infinity sort of their hub for like this is the official game. It's an add-on for this game. They kind of stopped, obviously, because Disney Finite. Right before we could have gotten Darkwing Duck.
Okay.
But I digress.
So, and another sequel comes out November 26th, which I assume means it's Thanksgiving.
Well, mention briefly, I just got told they're making Tron Catalyst, which I assume is a game.
Okay. So, will be a game coming up. On the 26th of November is Zootopia 2.
Yes.
Taking the characters from... Now, Zootopia was another good story.
Yeah.
Told very well, and you kind of, again, like the characters, and even some of the, what do you call it? Not main characters, but supporting cast, the sloth and stuff.
Yeah.
Those are some really funny stuff in there.
I know it's not a perfect movie, but I still really liked it. And I feel like that world has untapped potential.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really curious what they'll do with Zootopia 2. I know Disney has had a weird track record lately with the quality of sequels, but hopefully with Zootopia 2, it's
not 3 episodes from a
canceled.
abandoned series.
Yeah.
Whoops, did I give something away?
Or it's not the protagonist split up permanently at the end, or the real antagonist was family, or
Oh, let's guess the plot. Well, there was a joke one time about, was it Rocky 3 or something, and Dennis Miller was doing the Saturday Night Live news, and they had a contest, and 3 people got it down to wrote the script before seeing the movie down to the last period. Something like that. It was sort of funny. Predictable is the word. Okay, so then December 2nd, the final on our list, at least, sequel that has a date, I guess I should say, would be Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
yeah, that's like a day one for me.
Okay, and that was December 2nd, by the way, so I guess we'll be doing December 2nd.
I'm saying I definitely want to see Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I know the only Five Nights at Freddy's, I said before, the only Five Nights at Freddy's game I've played is Security Breach, but I've still been invested in Five Nights at Freddy's pretty much since it came out, or at least
We have
since...
a cookbook right over there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and we saw the movie when it was in the theater the first time.
Yeah, I've been into Five Nights at Freddy's since, at least since I saw, like Markiplier was playing
Okay.
the King of Five Nights at Freddy's. Hopefully he's in the sequel.
Okay, so there's a couple of undated movies on our list. One of them is Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie Infinity Castle.
Pretend I said it. So is that a sequel of sorts? Or is that just another Demon Slayer story?
Okay, so I'll say Infinity Train, which was the first movie related to Demon Slayer, was canon.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to watch it if you were a fan of Demon Slayer.
Okay. It was good, but I'm not a fan, and it was still good, pretty good.
Yeah. Infinity Castle is also a canon movie. It takes place right after the Hashira training arc, which Tur and I just finished watching.
Okay.
So Infinity Castle, my impression is with Infinity Castle, it's a trilogy of movies.
Okay, so yeah, this is the second of 3.
Yeah, but I feel like since the manga has long since ended, I feel like it's partially milking it at this point.
Well, yeah.
So,
contracts have to be fulfilled.
yeah, because I'm just thinking about how Attack on Titan was an IRL infinite fractal.
Mm-hmm.
But then the Infinity Castle, it's not even going to be done after that, because then there's the Sunrise Countdown arc, and then it's over.
Okay. So
yeah, but I don't know if Infinity Castle is going to be like, if it is definitely 3 movies, then is it 3 movies to tell Infinity Castle and then they're doing Sunrise Countdown, or if the trilogy is actually Infinity Castle and Sunrise Countdown.
I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, when the movie comes out. And that's probably opening in Japan first, and will probably be like a limited run here. Like
Yeah. For sure, Tur and I would want to watch it, because you have to watch it out of obligation, but also have to watch it because we're liking it. So.
Right. And the last on our list is Star Trek 4.
Don't know anything about it.
It's been it seemed like it's been a decade since there's been a Star Trek movie.
I don't know why they've been so slow with non-lower decks content.
Yeah. They've tried really hard to keep the Star Trek universe going, but it's been sort of
behind a paywall.
Yeah, but I mean they've been trying to, so Disney keeping their stuff going up behind a paywall.
True.
yeah,
The
I'd be curious to see who's left to be. I mean, have they aged out of the roles,
Yeah,
or
is it another reboot? Is it really a sequel? I don't know.
we'll find out, I guess.
Is it another recall like the first movie actually?
Yeah, and that guy, he left to do Star Wars.
Abrams?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he was supposed to be the man behind it, and bright and shiny, I'm gone. Um,
That's what D&D tried to do with Game of Thrones, and look at that.
right.
Look how that turned out.
Yeah, you can overdo it sometimes. I'd be curious to see. I mean, I enjoyed the other movies. I grew up watching, I guess, reruns of the series.
The original.
Mhm. And some of those episodes, are pretty good. There's some that are really good,
Yeah.
and there's some that are kind of like, yeah, okay, or don't age as well. But some of them, like the City on the Age of Tomorrow or whatever that is, that's really good.
Yeah.
And there's like real emotions, and actually William Shatner acts and everything.
And I haven't seen much of the original Star Trek.
Right. We
I've-
watched some episodes.
I've seen some famous stories.
Yes.
Those are good.
And this would be the first time they've done a Star Trek movie since the death of Leonard Nimoy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was kind of always in the other ones
Yeah.
somewhere along the way. So this would be kind of a, you know, they'd have to actually, have it, move forward, I guess. I'm curious how they're gonna, who's in it and what it's gonna be about. That may be one where you wait for the reviews.
Yeah.
But I saw the first series of Star Trek movies when they came out, when they, you know, search for Spock and all those things. I watched all those movies, but it's interesting they've rebooted it. But it's been, again, it seems like a decade since the last one.
Yeah.
I kind of think that sometimes they wait too long between sequels. Like, do I really care?
Yeah.
But sometimes they surprisingly, like not airplane, but Top Gun, the sequel was
Yeah.
actually better than the first one. That kind
Maverick.
of stuff. Yeah, Maverick.
Yeah, that was actually like really good compared to the original.
Yeah. So I mean,
In our opinion, anyway.
yeah, which is what counts on this podcast. So anyway, so yeah, I'd like to see what happens with it, and hopefully it's enough of the same characters. Actors that you it's a continuation of that story, but again, I don't know why it's taking a decade to do it.
Yeah.
It seems like a decade.
On the subject of Star Trek, I'll mention I'm at least aware of the other shows.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm aware of TNG or Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I never really watched. I watched the first episode of The Next Generation, and I was like, it didn't seem like Star Trek to me. Though I know it went on and for a number of years, lasted longer than the original series did. But it just didn't speak to me for some reason.
Yeah.
And I made the decision after one episode. But I have seen other little bits and pieces of it, since. Deep Space Nine. There was one of them that was supposedly like, kind of like, in the office in a space station kind of thing. Which didn't sound like it'd be terribly interesting, but I don't know. I kind of, after the first Star Trek movie back in the 70s was like, what the hell? That was really bad. So I kind of got sort of stopped caring that much about it.
And I'm also at least aware of Lower Decks.
Yeah, which could be interesting. I don't know. It's sort of the people that aren't the main characters. What goes on with them?
Yeah.
I assume is the storyline. So that would be kind of interesting potentially.
Yeah.
If those are interesting characters,
Yeah.
So.
And I'll just say I remember reading about some famous like TNG stories, and at least one or two of them might be interesting to watch.
Yeah, no, and yeah, as I say, just at the time I was just like, okay, I just got kind of like, it didn't speak to me.
Right.
It probably should have, but there are some pretty, iconic characters and stories that have come out of that. Yes.
Yeah. So I think that about covers it.
Okay. We want to talk about Ono?
Yes. If you are looking for a silent fidget toy, use our code or Eddie and Eli at ownerroller.com to save 10% off your purchase.
Right. So we hope you can hear it's really quiet. So, if you're watching this on
Yes. If you're watching this on YouTube later and you like this, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, leave a comment below if you have any thoughts about upcoming movies.
right, and if you think we're totally wrong about something, leave a comment. We'd love to hear it. Well, unless it's really mean. But otherwise, so until next time, and we're going to have a team meeting next time.
Yeah.
Until next time, I'm David Hankins.
I'm Paul Hankins.
And you've been